when it gets onto the training paddock and all of a sudden someone says it's Mitchell Pearce's team, you have to do whatever Mitchell says. How do those superstars get their head around? What are the dynamics of putting all these superstars into one team focused going in one direction?
Well, what it is a little bit, we're talking about this with football the other day, and everyone talks about all the time about the NFL. NFL quarterbacks at the start of the year get a playbook, which is, it's as thick as War and Peace, and they've got to digest and understand the plays. That is no different in rugby league. The only thing is different with the rugby league, you got to do it under fatigue. And I was talking to these young guys the other day from Clontarf. Clontarf do a lot of really good work in the Indigenous community. These kids do rugby league as a lesson, but if they don't get their marks right, they don't play rugby league, and it's doing great things in Indigenous communities. And I said to the boys, who wants to be a professional rugby league player? And they all put up their hands. That's what they want to do. It's their dream. And I said, you've got to be good at maths because you've got to understand, equations and moving on the field and the ability to count numbers. I said, I'm not kidding you. It's really, really important. And that's one of the really important things. See, Mitchell Pearce gets out in the field, right? And when I talk about to you guys like Mitchell Pearce is a newfound calmness about him, and why I say that playmakers mature as they get older, is that under fatigue, with all that noise going on, all the cheering, the yelling, all the adrenaline going on, with all the madness, you have got to keep a clear head and actually count numbers on the field and send them to different parts of the field, then count numbers. If that's not in, send them to a different part and put all these plays on. And so how you plug that in is when you get into training straight away, you establish who's the chief playmaker. It's chief playmaker will be Pearce, but his deputy is Maloney. Both of them are given equal duties. So what they do is you plug the whole team into them. On one side of the field, you've got Josh Jackson. He'll team up there with Maloney. At the other side of the field, you're going to have Boyd Cordner, who teams up with Mitchell. Then you've got a centre, split, winger, split, and the fullback swings either way. And the blokes, the big fellas in the middle, they just create the momentum. So when you're out there in your halves, the understanding is that we talk about shapes in football, righto? So a shape is, for instance, the block shape. For yell second man, you either hit it short or the guy floating around the back. That you need to give all those different shapes a name. So, at Newcastle, it's called an again, let's say. At Manly, it might be called a hardboard. Every team has a different. So you've got to get them into camp, and you've got to have the 30 plays on the board.
Oh my goodness!
And you have to rename them so that everyone agrees, and they've got to be monosyllabic. Thank you. So.
What does that mean?
One syllable.
Singular.
Ah.
A pop, a nick, a chase, so that everyone understands it. So that when I'm in the heat of battle and all that noise is going on, I can say, Gus, Emma, a nick's on. And you go, yep, and you know where to run to, exactly. And you're understanding the shapes. Righto, we hit them over the one side of the field. Righto, let's lay it back into the dot, back into the 50, go to the 50, which is the middle of the field. Righto, the other side, we're going to have a chase block, which is you're starting to put the combinations together. So you put a chase with the bloke floating around the back to let the fullback know, and everyone has to be plugged into that.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing with a long preparation. When you hear things like they'll say, "Oh, it's really hard. We've had with Origin, so and so was away. Our halfback was under an injury cloud, and in the last 2 days we had to bring another halfback in." Oh my God! So basically, in that 2 days, everyone has to get back on the page again. You got to the halfback has to absorb all the plays, all the calls, forget about his club ones, and have the ability to talk everyone into shape. And that's why I'm saying why you forgive young halves early in their career at getting to the rep level and not playing their best football. We said about this morning, Gus. You said something that I was unaware of. Darren Lockyer, in his first 15 Origins, had won 5.
That's right. And Mitchell Pearce has won 4 out of 15.
He's won 4. Lockyer might be the next immortal.
Yes.
Now, Lockyer matured as a playmaker, and Thurston arrived, and Cronk, and Inglis.
Yeah, I mean...
And all those guys arrived and helped him out. So what we're seeing now is you're getting Mitchell Pearce getting to the peak of his game. He looks different on the field because he's comfortable, and what he's starting to do is all that stuff that you get taught when you're a young playmaker, right, is starting to sink in. It takes years. Me and Joey were very, very lucky. And a guy that is really helping Mitchell out at the moment is an old fella called Alan Bell, who was an old farmer up in Newcastle, lived at Lovedale. He had a llama farm, right?
Like alpacas.
Yeah, had alpacas, right?
Gorgeous.
I love alpacas.
Wonderful animal.
Yeah,
And
beautiful fur.
and great temperament, by reports.
Can we get back to Belly?
And Belly what he used to do with us at Newcastle, he used to follow me and Joey home from training, sit with us in front of, put a videotape in for 2 hours and go, right, I'm going to show you the things that make Alan Langer a great player. I'll show you the things that make Ricky Stewart a great player. Now we're going to focus on this guy, and he just give us homework and non-stop. And when Joey went to the Roosters, he rung Belly, and Belly's just up on his farm and said, Belly, I think we've got a young guy who needs your help. So Belly's come in the last 2 years and started to work with Mitchell about his temperament, how you talk on a field. It horrifies me when I do work with young halves sometimes. I go down to the park and I throw out the hats and I say, and I try to teach all the things that you were taught. Right, how do you talk to the guys around you? I don't know. Okay, when you're going to go to the line, righto, and you want to communicate to the guy at your back row on the outside here, and you see a space, what do you say? I don't know. And that's where a lot of that, we talk about all the time, the education has gone out of the game. The stuff that was really important has been forgotten when it became an athlete's game and under the 10-metre rule. But those things are important again suddenly. And these are the things that are being taught to Mitchell, and he's absorbing them now, and he's an age, and he's got the right temperament to absorb them. And that's why I think he's going to have a great series.
Let's hope so.
Great insight. Thank you, Matty.